What's happening, everyone? Welcome back. It's Jay Scott, and it is the Hook Rocks, the Ultimate Rock Community Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. We always do appreciate it. We are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, a great network of music-related podcasts, including the official Metallica podcast, the Metallica Report, and a whole bunch of other great music-related podcasts for you all to check out. So please do so at pantheonpodcast.com, and also check out their social media at Pantheon Pods on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can do the same with the Hook Rocks on all three of those platforms, as well as set your app to automatic download so you get the latest episodes right to your phone. We've had some awesome episodes to start the year off. We had Joe Satriani on, Jeff Pilson, George Lynch, Stephen Piercy talking the 40th anniversary of Out of the Cellar. Some great new bands, The Gems from Sweden, Tuck Smith, Scott Halliday of Rival Sons, and Blacktop Mojo, as well as Black Smoke Trigger from New Zealand. So check out all those and more. We've got another tremendous guest for you today, a guest I've been wanting to have on for a long time. And I've always admired his career and followed his career from the days of Black Sabbath all the way now to Last in Line. And that is the legendary drummer, Vinny Appice. What's going on, man? How are you?
Wow, what a build-up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for
I'm good. I'm cool.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. We always start the same way every time we have a first-time guest on the show, and it's the essence of the podcast. Just like every great rock song has a hook that pulls you in, every rock fan has a moment, whether it's a song, an album, a band, or performance that hooked them on rock and roll. What was it for you?
As far as getting into music?
Getting into rock and roll.
My brother's 11 years older than me. So when I was a kid, he was playing with the Vanilla Fudge, and I used to go with my parents to go see him play big, theaters and concerts and stuff. So that got the fire going in me, and all the things he did in his career. And I was like, wow, I want to play drums too. So, and it felt natural. And luckily, it turned out okay.
Yeah, I think it did, Vinny. I think you're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's okay. I'm still playing.
Yeah,
still doing a lot of stuff and enjoying it. And what the heck, keep going.
Absolutely. From that, where did it go? From hearing your brother and how he influenced you to developing your own identity. When did that all begin? How did that start?
Well, we grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so he was kind of out of the house when I was 9 years old, 10 years old. And so I started playing in bands in Brooklyn, and then that led to hooking up with a really cool band with horn players, nine-piece band, horn players, keyboards. And the guitar player knew Jimmy Iovine from the Record Plant Studios at the time, Jimmy Iovine from Interscope and all the Beats Audio. And that band, we wound up going into Record Plant Studios. Jimmy produced a couple of songs for us, and the owner of the record plant liked us. He thought we were really good, and so did Jimmy. And they gave us a management deal. So we were managed by Record Plant Studios, and I was about 15, 16. And they gave us a big room in Manhattan to rehearse, which was cool because we didn't have to pay for rehearsal. And we're in Manhattan. It's like amazing. So we used to rehearse every night. And then one night, Jimmy calls us on the phone upstairs. We're on the 10th floor. He says, can you come down and do some hand claps on a session we're doing? I said, yeah. So all 9 of us go down, and we walk in, and we see John Lennon. We go, oh, shit. It's John Lennon. So we go into the room, and we put the headphones on. Now he's talking to you. Yeah, you heard his voice so many times, and now he's talking to you. And so that was just a trip. And we wound up doing hand claps on a song called Whatever Gets You Through the Night. That's me and my band doing hand claps on that song. So we got to meet him afterward, and we were real cool. We weren't fanboys, we wanted to be cool. And then we went back to our room, and we were freaking out. And he must have asked Jimmy, where did they come from? Instant 9 guys doing hand claps, just what they needed, So Jimmy must have told him they're upstairs rehearsing. It's a great band. I'm producing them. A couple days later, he comes into the room, watches us play. And it's like, I remember my muscles freezing up a bit. Never happened before, but I'm there and like, wow, John's sitting there watching us play. So he liked it. And I smoked a couple joints with him. And he used to come up all the time. We played pool. There was a pool table in the room next door. And he used to hang out with us. So he wound up asking us to do some videos with him and all this stuff. And then he asked us to do this live performance at the New York Hilton. And it was a black tie affair, a big ordeal on TV all over the world. And we did that, and we played 3 songs with him. And then I find out not long ago that was his last live appearance. And I'm sitting there going, shit, I played John Lennon's last live appearance. Kid from Brooklyn, 16 and a half years old. It was just a trip. And I used to go to school the next day. Didn't like it, you know, at night hanging out with John Lennon, and then next day in school, black and white world. And so that's the way I got started. And then from there, in that same studio, Rick Derringer heard our demos that we did, and Jimmy played it for Rick Derringer, and Rick really liked it. So I saw Rick in the hall one day, and he said, "I'm going to put a band together in about 6 months. Give me a number, and I'll call you." And that led to me joining up with Rick and the band Derringer, and we did like 3 albums. And then I had a band after that called Axis with Danny Johnson on guitar, a 3-piece band, and we did 1 album on RCA. And then I was in LA at the time. I moved to LA from New York. And then I joined one band out here, Alfonso Johnson, the amazing bass player. And then from there, I got a call from Sharon Osbourne's office. And this is 1979. And Sharon got on the phone and asked me if I wanted to hook up with Ozzy. They're going to put a band together around Ozzy. And I know from what I heard, Ozzy was crazy at the time. I asked my brother, "Hey, I got this offer from Ozzy. What do you think? Is he nuts?" Carmine pretty much confirmed, yeah, he's nuts. At that time, he was really crazy. So I was like, well, okay, I turned it down. I couldn't do it. And I was too young. And then about 6 months later, I got a call from Black Sabbath. And Ozzy meant going over to England and hanging out with them. And I never been that far away before. I'd been to Canada, and that was it. So England was like, man, where's that? What planet is that on? And then Sabbath called. They were in L.A., and they said, we're looking for a drummer. We heard about you, and blah, 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 blah. Come down and meet Tony Iommi. Okay, so that was easy. I drove to the hotel, and in comes Tony with that Axis album, My Band, which was produced by Andy Johns. So there was a really, really good sounding album, good drum sound, And Tony liked the album, and then he said, come down to rehearsal. So I came down to rehearsal the next day with my drums in my 67 shitty Mustang convertible. Not convertible, but it might as well have been. And I played first song with them, Neon Nights, because I heard it on the radio like 2 weeks before. I heard it on the radio while driving, and I said to myself, wow, that new singer, Ronnie James Dio, he's awesome. I didn't really follow Ronnie, It's a great song, great singer. Wow. So they said, what song do you want to play? And Neon Nights. I knew it didn't stop until one part in the middle, so I could fake it, And that's the first song I played with Ronnie, and like almost 40 years later, it's the last song I played with Ronnie. That whole journey in between that song, bookends. And then, we did Sabbath, and then we left, and we did Dio, and Sabbath, and Dio, blah, 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 blah. So I've been busy.
Yeah, you've been pretty busy. Going back to the John Lennon thing, which is amazes me. I've heard the story before, but to hear you tell it is quite, is really
Oh, did you hear the
special.
lasagna part?
No,
That's the best part.
tell me the
I'm,
lasagna part, Vinny.
I'm sitting there with John in our rehearsal room, and I'm sitting here. He's to my right, smoking a joint, and he always wanted Coke, but I didn't do Coke. I was just a pothead back then. And we're talking about Italian food. So I said, my grandparents are from Italy. My mother makes the killer lasagna, the meatballs, everything. And we talking about it. I said, you know what? I'm going to have her make you some. So I told my mother, Mom, you got to make some lasagna for John Lennon. Okay. She makes a pan of lasagna. A couple of days later, I bring the lasagna into the studio, and luckily John was there. And I said, "Hey, John, this is from my mother. She made this especially for you. We talked about Italian food. Here it is." Oh, thank you. He's very, very nice about it, and took the pan, right? And about a month later, my brother's playing Madison Square Garden with Rod Stewart. They're doing like 6 nights at Madison Square Garden. And my parents went to the party they had at up in the city. And I don't know, I must have been on the road or something. And my mother is backstage. My mother's a short Italian woman, kind of heavy. And my father, Charlie. And she says, "Look, Charlie, there's John Lennon." Oh, so she tells Carmine. So Carmine says, "Come on, I'll take you over there to meet him." So they went over there, and Carmine said, "This is my mother, and this is Vinny's mom, and blah blah blah. I made you lasagna, and then that. So they talked for a little bit, and at the end of the conversation, my mother asked John, "Did you bring the pan?" Because the Italian pan is sacred.
Yep.
It's where all the family lasagnas were made for years. So he didn't bring the pan. Oops. Like he's going to be home going, maybe Vinny's mom's going to be there. I should bring that pan back. What do you think, Yoko? So she never got the pan back. So we think Yoko has it. But it's quite a
That,
story. Funny.
that is a funny story. And being half Italian myself, my mother, her side of the family is Italian. I can totally relate to that because I've gotten food from aunts throughout my life, my mother, my grandmother, and I won't if I don't return the Tupperware that they
That's
give it to me.
Tupperware.
Yeah, I am I am like shunned at family parties because I didn't bring the Tupperware back.
Yeah. Well, this is the pan that had the oils in it and all that shit.
Yeah.
So, my mother, being from Brooklyn, it didn't matter if you were the president of the United States back then. Uh, hey, you got my pan? You're from Brooklyn. You just go for it. Where's my pan? So we never
Yeah.
got the pan back.
Yeah, I
Then when
remember
we did when we did the Mob Rules album, we were doing the Mob Rules tour in England, not Mob Rules, Heaven and Hell tour in 1980 in England. They wanted us, Warner Brothers wanted us a song for the movie Heavy Metal. Okay, so we had 2 days off. We went into John Lennon's house, but he's already passed, so it was owned by Ringo. There's a studio in there. And it was where Imagine was filmed and a lot of John's videos on the grounds, in the gardens and stuff. So they handed out keys, and I got a key and I room whatever, and I walk down the hall, look on the door, and there's John and Yoko's room plaque. They gave me John and Yoko's room. Isn't that freaky? Because nobody else played with them or had communication with John. So, but I didn't stay in the room because he just died, and I seen too many Frankenstein movies. Maybe I'd be haunted in there. I don't know. I should have. That's stupid of me, but I was young. I was like 20, 22 years old.
you know
I
you,
got that room.
you mentioned Black Sabbath and Into Dio, and 1984, the album The Last in Line came out, and it was a huge impact on rock fans and metal fans throughout the world, including myself. I still remember seeing that video with the kid on the bike and everything, and,
Oh
and
yeah.
Um, have you, obviously Ronnie has passed and, we still deal with that as fans. And of course, your relationship with him, in today's world, and remembering him. But have you had a chance to reflect on the music you created with him from Mob Rules into Dio and beyond with Heaven and Hell?
Um, it just happens naturally. I mean, luckily, I was on tour first. They called me up. They were in the middle of the Heaven and Hell tour, and they said we need a drummer. I go down and play with them. They only had 4 days to rehearse, so I played the first day. They were so happy they found a drummer. They all went to the pub, and I'm sitting there going, I got to learn these songs, So luckily, I stayed back with the keyboard player Jeff Nichols, and we worked on the songs. Just he had a Walkman. He lent me the Walkman, the old Walkman, and so each day we played a little longer than the next day, but then they went to the pub again, and it's like 2 days left. Oh shit, we better, you know. They started getting nervous. So, so long story short, I got to play on the tour, and each gig got better and better and better. We got tighter. I fit in with them really well, especially the way Tony plays. And so I was able to get comfortable with them before we made any real original music. And then when that tour ended, well, actually, in the middle of that tour, we did the John Lennon house thing. We recorded in the house and we wrote Mob Rules there. There was no song. We just went in and started jamming some riffs and put it together and boom, Mob Rules. And everybody heard it and went, holy shit, this kicks ass. So Warner Brothers, they were excited. And so that was made it more relaxed when we went to after the tour finished, we went to write the rest of the album. And it was just natural. We nobody in from that time on, all those albums came in with a song. Nobody came in with hey, I got this song and here's the chorus and here's the verse and middle eight. We jammed. Everything was a jam. And then somehow I got in charge of recording it on cassettes. And then the next day would come in and listen to this. This is good. That's good. Let's work on this. Let's work on that. So that's the way it came about. So I was very relaxed. There were times when I went, oh shit, man, we're doing an album with Black Sabbath. This is pretty cool. And then we became really good friends. Tony is an actual jokester, likes to play, jokes on people and stuff. And so do I. So we got along good. Geezer, fantastic. And so it was really comfortable. It wasn't anything weird. And you know what? You reflect on it now, you go, man, that went by quick. 40 years ago is 44 years ago is 1980. And but all the music was made by us in a room. It was pretty cool. And then Dio was like a new band, so we didn't have any rules. We didn't have any Sabbath. You had to stay in that realm, think of that dark, heavy kind of world. With Dio, the word can't wasn't in the vocabulary. We smoked a lot of pot on Holy Diver, and the word can't wasn't there. We used to try all sorts of shit, and it worked. But we didn't know we would make the first two albums would be such classic albums. We were just having fun. Sound City Studios.
When you think of Last in Line, and from Holy Diver into Last in Line, I mean, the mark of a great song is always it stands the test of time, but it also evolves with you as you kind of move on in life and have different experiences, and it can mean different things to you at different times. And the amazing thing for me with those two albums and beyond too as well, but those two albums primarily, I've got a 19-year-old son, and I've connected with him on these two albums. His favorite song on The Last in Line is One Night in the City, which I think is the hidden gem on the album, in my opinion. I think that's a great song.
Mhm.
You talk about all these experiences with John Lennon, with Rick Derringer, with Black Sabbath, and now having No Rules with Dio at that time. Was when you went from Dio or Black Sabbath into Dio, did you know that there was going to be success with this? Did you know that this band was going to be a powerful force in the rock and metal genre?
No, because that's like telling the future. But it did have that safety net of Ronnie is the singer. You know, it's not like a whole brand new band. Oh shit! I hope we can make some noise here. Ronnie had that fan base, and after the Sabbath thing, it got bigger. Just that Heaven and Hell Mob Rules albums were especially Heaven and Hell, were big. So I knew there was some sort of success in it, but we didn't know, you know, we were naive. I mean, we wrote that album. We did 4 songs at Sound City. They had a rehearsal place across the parking lot. We'd go in, we'd write 4 songs, then we'd drag everything across the parking lot, like cymbal stands with cymbals on them, drums, and walk across the parking lot, set up, and then record. When we finish 4 songs, then we bring everything back and write some more. And it was like a hangout every night. They let us do anything there. We broke into the candy machines, we broke into the pinball games and all the video games. It was like a club almost. It was just everybody looked forward to coming to Sound City at 7 o'clock. Then we had friends down there and also all that kind of shit. And I mean, it was so the word can't. Uh, we jammed on some riff one night, the Holy Diver, the song Invisible. So we jammed on the riff. Went, that's really good. It's getting late. Okay, let's listen to it tomorrow. And Angelo, who was our sound man, and he's the engineer on those albums. He's a recording engineer on those first 4 albums. He recorded us on a Tascam 4-track cassette. So, all right. So we come in the next day and, smoke a little pot, get ready. Hey, Lan, let's hear that riff we did. So he put the tape in upside down, not knowing. So the riff played backwards. It's going, and we're laughing, going, man, you're stoned. We're laughing. Then we said, wait a minute, that sounds good. So we learned the riff backwards, however it sounded. So the song Invisible was the riff forward and the riff backwards and some other stuff in there. And Ronnie wanted to start the song with something that was invisible, like a apparition ghost appearing or something. So there were no computers back then. So we were talking about it sounds like a tire, a tire, air escaping from the tire. So one of our friends goes, I got a tire in my truck, pickup truck. Well, fuck, go get it. And he brings the tire in. Now we're miking up a tire. I don't think it's been done before. What mic do you use on a tire? So he mic'd up with a couple of mics, and then we recorded him letting the air out of the tire. Just a bit, enough. And then we did a couple of takes of that, put it together, and I don't know what they did with it, if it was backwards or forward, but that's the beginning of Invisible. So that's what I mean. There were no rules. We just went, whatever we thought, let's do it. And there's some backwards stuff on Holy Diver, because in Sabbath, we were always accused of putting backwards stuff on there. Play it backwards. It says, go kill yourself. We never did that. And when we were doing this album, I said to Ronnie, let's put some backwards shit on there. Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the last song on that album, Shame on the Night, starts to fade out. And there's this voice that comes on and goes, Ronnie said, crucify the diver. And we put it backwards. And as it fades out, you got to listen for it. You hear it. No one said a word. I guess nobody heard it. When you don't do it, they're accusing you of doing it. When you do it, nobody's listening to something like that. So that's what that album was about. Just fuck. It was a whole lot of fun. Both of those albums.
When I was talking to Stephen Piercy about Out of the Cellar, 40th anniversary of that, one of the things we talked about was the timing of that music. It was the beginning of MTV. Heavy metal and hard rock had kind of been sweltering underneath the surface for at least a half dozen years prior to that late 70s, with some of the new wave of British heavy metal and Priest and Maiden and all that stuff and Van Halen. How much did timing impact Last in Line, Holy Diver, and that period of that music for you guys?
Um, we didn't really do stuff like that. We didn't go, well, it sounds like the music is changing into something else, but we just played what we felt. And same thing with Sabbath. We never jumped on any bandwagon or something like that. We just played what we played. You know, we didn't really listen to those other bands. You know, um, we just got in a room together, started jamming. We were just in time with the time. It wasn't anything that was put together. Or somebody said we should sound like this part on Rat or Van Halen. We didn't do that because actually, when we were making Holy Diver, Rat was up and coming, and so was Van Halen was more established at that point. Iron Maiden, everybody was growing at that point. So, but we didn't really base our music off anybody else's. We
How,
just
how
played.
about the timing of MTV? That
Oh, that was great. That was
Yeah,
great. That was the time that rock was just exploding. We used to have like VHS tapes of MTV recorded on our bus. We put them on, watch videos and stuff. Usually in the early days of Dio, the Holy Diver tour, we'd play a gig and do whatever we did. Then by the time we'd party in the dressing room, and then we went on to the bus. Our bus was still there at 4 a.m. with these videos playing and people on board and chicks and big old party going on. So MTV was the shit, and really helped grow all the bands and promote everybody. So
what does the Last in Line album mean to you? I mean, if you were to look at your career in diary entries, if you want to call it that, that specific moment with that album on the 40th anniversary of it, what does it say to you today when you listen back to it?
um, it kicked ass. You know, I mean, you got to realize we do something, then we move on. We do something, we keep going. I don't sit back and go. I don't even listen to that. I don't sit down and listen to it unless I have to, unless we're playing a song from the album with those two albums. But I'm proud of those albums. Something came on. What came on? Stand Up and Shout. Ozzy's Boneyard the other day, and I'm driving. I go, man, shit! I didn't realize I played all that stuff in there. A lot of fills and very aggressive and high energy and shit. Oh, that's pretty good. So that's probably why it lasted. This stands the test of time. Uh, they're good songs, and they were played as best we could. So like I said, my thing is okay. We did something great. Blah 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 blah. Next, the next. I don't rest.
Yeah. A lot of
It probably means more to you than me. I'm proud because I was on it, and I think we made a great album. But it probably means more to the people listening to this stuff. This music touches so many people, and it's amazing. I had to go to jury duty beginning of the year, January 2nd. I'm like, fuck. So I go down there and, you know, waiting 3 hours. We go up to meet the judge, talks, and he goes, look, you can't do it, financial hardship, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. I filled out the form. I said, look, I can't do this. I got 3 shows coming up next week. I do a stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. LA time, Pacific time, 4 p.m. on Facebook. I do a live stream every week. I could. And that's been going on for 3 years. It was supposed to be a couple of months, but it's fun. And then I had shows and this and that and interviews. So I said, I can't do this. I said, I played with, and I mentioned the bands, Black Sabbath, John Lennon, Dio. And I said, and also my ears are shot. So I'm not going to be really keen on hearing somebody across the room going, telling me something important about this. And it was a murder trial. I don't want no murder trial. I don't want to be there for that. So I'm waiting and waiting. They excused all these people. And finally, there's 9 of us left. The people that can do it are over there. 9 of us that don't want to really do it. So then they call my name. So I go up to the front. She goes, come on in. And then there's the judge. He goes, follow me. I go into his quarters. I'm thinking, what are they going to make me do this or what? So he turns around and goes, I just wanted to meet you. And I'm thinking, cool is that this music has reached out and touched so many people. And even this judge, who was probably younger than me, and he was a Beatle fan too. And he read my thing and probably went, oh my God, I got to meet this guy, play with John Lennon. But I was amazed that, music touches so many people, and gets people through thick and thin, makes them feel good. There's certain things I listen to once in a while that are cool. I like, and different songs, but it touches everybody. It's amazing. So that was a good example.
Did you
So
understand?
he excused me.
That's good.
You're
Did
excused.
you
Oh yeah, thank you. I'll go home.
did you understand that connection when you were younger playing on these albums?
Nah, nope. Just did what was inside. Fire inside. Fire still going. No, because the things I did until I got into Sabbath was small. And then when you start touring and people come up and go, I had some uh, people in the family pass away, and this song got me through it. And, this and that. I was sick, and this album and song that really helped me. Man, you guys were blah, 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 blah. So then I started realizing, wow, we don't realize that when we're playing in the studio. We don't sit there and go, let's do a part that touches everybody. How do you know? People get different vibes from it. So no, I didn't until later on, but still now when I do a lot of recording and hear some stuff, and I just play the way I play. I feel it. It's in my soul, but I don't think of like, I hope this touches somebody or makes them get through some hard times or anything. I just do it from my heart. It probably goes to their heart. So.
As we close, I saw the documentary last year, on Ronnie and his life and all that stuff. For you and experiencing him, and being connected with him, what's your favorite memory? What's your favorite thing about Ronnie? In the celebration of the Last in Line album 40 years later.
Um, we think about it. We've been on so many tour buses together, so many flights, so many cars, so many limos, dressing rooms. How many? I mean, it just went on and on and on together, the things you experienced together. So Ronnie was just cool. We got along like brothers. We're both Italian, right? We both like the same food. He, he doesn't like fancy sauces, and he likes meat and potatoes and curries. He turned me on to Indian food, which we love now. I love it. And then he loves sports. I don't get into sports at all. So sometimes I'd be sitting there with him at his house or in the hotel room. We're watching football and stuff. Yeah, I'll watch it a little bit. I go, what? Why did that? What's going on with this? And he'd explain the rules to me. Ah, that makes sense. That makes it clearer. Baseball, love baseball. His team was the Yankees. So he was out just down to earth, you know. And then the very first time, one of the first times riding in a limo with Ronnie, he was with Black Sabbath, and we're pulling out of the arena. It about midnight, you know, and it was winter in the East Coast, so it was cold. Pull out, go up the hill, and there's the gate to go out, and there's a guard there, but there's a bunch of fans there. And Ronnie goes, "Stop the car." You know, the driver stops the car. He gets out, and he goes over there and starts signing stuff for everybody. Well, how cool is that? You know, so I got out. I wasn't that known back then. And I did the same thing. And that was just amazing. You know, he cared so much about his fans. He really loved his fans. And if you told him your name and you saw him a year later, he'd remember your name. Unlike me, who forgets names like in about 5 minutes. I just don't remember the names very well.
It's amazing. I've heard that
I know
before.
your name because it's down on the bottom.
Yeah, he just seemed like a wonderful guy and a wonderful individual, and also like a perfectionist. Because I know in the documentary it talked about how if he heard something, he wanted to find that sound and find what he had heard, and he wouldn't accept anything less than that.
Yeah, you know, he wanted to rehearse every day. Yeah, at one point he goes, "We're going to rehearse from 11 to 4, and then break, and then come back in at 6 to 11." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm not going to do that much rehearsing." You know, that's almost a little bit too much. So uh, he knew what he wanted to hear, and we tried a lot of things on the songs we created together. You know, he'd go, "Well, what about this? What about, why don't we try this?" And we tried a lot of different things. Sometimes it got so many things that there were so many things we tried that your brain just turns to mush, and you go, "I can't even remember what we're doing now. What are we doing now?" You know. But he wanted to get it. What he heard was right, and then and we were the right people around him, you know, because it didn't take a lot. You know, we were doing. Uh, we would fit right in, you know. At the end of toward the end of Dio, he didn't like to sing over busy riffs. So if you listen to some of the later albums, the verses are a boom, 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 and he would sing over it. You know, he didn't like singing like the busy stuff, you know, and he just changed a little bit, you know. Still great, but style changed a little bit that way, you know. Then there was a song we did later on the Angry Machines record, which is kind of like a prog record, you know, because it's Tracy G on guitar and Jeff Pilson on bass. And there's a song called Institutional Man. It's in like, I think it was 11 or 9 or some crazy time signature. And we had it down. But he couldn't sing on it. And he's going, "I can't hear it. I can't." I said, "Do this. Don't listen to us. Just sing." He went, "Oh." And we rolled the tape, and he just sang what he felt over this 11 time signature, and it worked. So it was really funny. I'm telling him what to sing, giving him not just an idea. I'm not telling him what to sing, but just don't listen to the riff. Just sing, you know, and it'll come together. And it did. It was cool.
Was something like that? Did you ever perform that song live, or was it too
No,
difficult? Yeah.
I don't think we did. But I listened to some of that album not long ago, and I went, "Holy shit, this is a weird Dio record." First of all, it wasn't Dio as Holy Diver and Last in Line. It was another thing. And it's very proggy. there's some crazy shit on that album. You know, that wasn't a big album for us anyway, so things were changing. You know, the original band is gone. So, change the band, you change the music.
Well, that happened to a lot of bands from that era, right? That there was that period where, there was a fall off when the grunge era hit, and it was kind of survival of the fittest back then, when that happened.
Well, grunge changed everything. You know, we were kind of more dinosaurs at that point. You know, when grunge hit, but we just kept on going what we thought was right. Plus, we had a different guitar player. Tracy plays different than Vivian Campbell, Greg Goldie, and again, we thought we were doing the best we could do, and we were cool with it. You know, so. Well, grunge is a whole different music style. Business changed a whole bit. So, like we did Dehumanizer, Black Sabbath, around grunge time, and I love that album. And a lot of people go, "Man, that's the heaviest Black Sabbath album," and it came out at the wrong time. It got a little lost, you know. So, but actually, 360 degrees. I'm doing gigs now called Sabbath Nights, and I go out and play. I got a great band on the East Coast and West Coast, and I go out and play stuff from Heaven and Hell album, but mostly from Mob Rules, a little bit of Dio, and a little bit of Old Sabbath. So I did a whole shitload of gigs. I just came back from South America where they went nuts. They love Sabbath. They love Ronnie so much. People were crying in the audience, you know, playing Children of the Sea, and these big biker dudes with tattoos and leather just standing there and there's tears in their eyes. You know, they were so inspired by Ronnie, you know, and Sabbath that it was just touching. And I've been there 5 times already. And then, so I got some gigs coming up. They're on my website. And it's fun for me because I get to play all this stuff. There's no stress. I'm not trying to, sell a new album that came out. I'm just having fun. I'd like to see the people enjoy the music. So there's a bunch of gigs coming up. It's called Sabbath Nights. And I did this in Europe twice under just my name. Now we came up with the name Sabbath Nights with a K. And I'm going to be doing this, especially when Viv's with Def Leppard. He goes off and plays in Def Leppard tour. I'm going to fill the void with a bunch of gigs doing this stuff. So and it's fun for me, you know.
That's awesome, and it helps, because I think people want to hear that music.
They
And
do. And even with Last in Line, we play a couple of Dio songs, open up. Then we do, this is a new song from our album. And it's good songs, they're really good. And we play it, and people they don't like a lot these days. They don't like to hear new stuff, It's all this retro stuff and tribute bands. So this is like a Sabbath Dio tribute plus one. I'm in it. And every song we play, you've heard, and it's a rockin' show. And you're not going to hear it by Tony. You're not going to hear it by Geezer. Not going to hear it by Ozzy. I'm the only one left. Not going to hear it by Ronnie. So this is like, if you're into those bands, I'm the dude. So, and I love doing it, and I appreciate I can do this. So it's good
and
that I play with those guys.
how about Last in Line? Anything new coming up with that?
Well, we released an album end of last year, and we just got back from a cruise. We did a cruise with Sammy Hagar and Jeff Tate from Queensryche, Jefferson Starship, and we did that. Now we're going out next week. Next weekend, we're playing 2 dates in Florida. Then we're doing the M3 Festival and another 1 or 2 dates around that. Then Viv's got to stop and go rehearse with Def Leppard. So we got some stuff going on. And that's a great band. We play so well together. We just kicks ass. Viv and I, it's like we never stopped from Holy Diver. We just got the feel. We play together. We complement each other. It's really amazing playing with Viv, So, and the rest of the band, of course. We got a great singer, Andy Freeman, Phil Susan on bass, played with Ozzy. So it's a great family again.
I think people forget too how great Vivian is as a guitar player. Very underrated.
Well, you're not going to hear it in Def Leppard. You're going to hear the songs, and which is fantastic. They're a great band, but it's not a shredding band. With Last in Line, when we play, every night's a little different. Especially me, I go effing crazy. I get inspired and I almost try to throw the band off. And Viv turns around and smiles. He knows I'm messing around. But we always come back on one, and so it's a different world. And he's carrying all the heavy lifting. Viv, he's playing the chords, he's playing the solos. There's no two guitar players in there. There's not even keyboards. Just Zeppelin type. Guitar, bass, and drums, vocals. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, speaking of that, I had a friend that recommended I go see a Zeppelin tribute band, and I'm not really into that kind of stuff. And I went, and I'm with him, and I go, "Why does this band have two guitar players?" Well,
fuck!
And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, they got two guitar players.
Cheating.
Yeah, and he goes, well, they want to make it sound like the album. I go, if I want to listen to the album, I'll go in my car, listen to the album. The whole Zeppelin live experience was completely different than the whole album experience. And
that's right.
Like you can't try to play it perfect. There was nothing perfect about Zeppelin live. It was all improvising and all that kind of stuff.
And that's the kind of stuff we do with Last in Line. You'll hear the song, but you'll hear it twisted the way we feel on that particular night. I do a lot of rock fantasy camps, and there's one coming up actually with Sebastian Bach, Tommy Aldridge, me, Warren DeMartini, like a real 80s thing. It's going to be fun. That's 2 weeks from now. And we do a jam. We go, all right, let's go play Here I Go Again, my Whitesnake. And I'm in the council band. But I won't play it just like the record. Or we play a Zeppelin song. I'll play it, and then I'll play it my way too. So it's like, whoa, what the heck? It kicks it in the ass. Because I say the same thing. You want to hear the record? Put the record on. You want to hear me playing this shit? Put your seatbelt on.
There you go.
So you got kick it.
That's the perfect way to end, Vinny.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me, Jay.
I appreciate the time, man. It's a pleasure talking with you. I've been a big fan of yours for a while, and thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you very much. And to the fans, thanks for listening all these years. I hope you can still hear. Not like me.
Yeah, no, I have the same problem. But everyone, that's Vinny Appice. All his links will be in the show notes. So once you're done listening, click on those links and go into the Vinny world, and all that's good in there. And I'm Jay Scott. This has been another episode of The Hook Rocks, the Ultimate Rock Music Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate it. Take care of each other. Stay safe, and we will talk soon. Thank you.
Places